Hi, this is Melanie for Pardesi Reviews. I'm here to do a movie review of the film Pelli Choopulu, starring Vijay Deverakonda and Ritu Varma. You'll notice I'm in a different environment. I am at my husband's parents' place in Arizona, visiting for the week. I watched Pelli Choopulu, and it is such an amazing film. I've been wanting to watch Pelli Choopulu for a long time. Ever since I saw Arjun Reddy and Vijay Deverakonda was so amazing. Everyone said, oh, you have to watch Pelli Choopulu, but it's actually very difficult to find with subtitles. So thank you for the person who sent me a copy with subtitles so that I could watch it. Sometimes you wonder, is a film going to live up to your expectations? And this film really did. It still blows my mind. Tharun Bhascker Dhaassyam is the director, and this was his feature debut. He had done some short films before, but to have your very first film be a national award winner, not just for the script, but also an award for the best Telugu film of 2016. Amazing. And very well deserved, because this film is really something special. It's really a gem. Pelli Choopulu means the matchmaking marriage meeting. Wikipedia just translated it as matchmaking, but I don't think that that is exactly the full connotation of what the words mean. Vijay Deverakonda plays kind of a lazy kind of a guy named Prasant. He meets Ritu Varma's character, who has absolutely no interest in actually marrying. They get stuck in a room together. The door slams shut and they're stuck with her little cousin. So they have a chaperone. But once he realizes that she's really not interested in marriage, she has an MBA, she wants to move to Australia, he relaxes, and they're just honest with each other for that time that they're together. They tell each other their backstories. He tells her how he dreams of being a chef. And I really had to laugh at the fact that he created a YouTube channel and was doing cooking videos on YouTube. Mostly he hangs around with his buddies, and he just wants to get married to get the dowry, and he feels like then he's not really going to have to work that hard or figure out what he wants to do with his life. And Ritu's character, Chitra, is like, really? You think that's how it's all going to work out? I don't think so. He has a couple of friends that he's always hanging out with, and one, his friend Kaushik, is played by Pardesi Reviews. And I know I've seen this actor in other supporting roles before, but this is, I think, the best that I've ever seen him. Every scene that he was in, he had something sarcastic and funny to say, and hilarious. I absolutely loved him in this part. All of the supporting characters, all the supporting actors are really strong. The two fathers are played by Prasant, or Vijay's father is played by Kedar Shankara, and then Chitra's or Ritu's character's father is played by Giriraj Manapali. And then I don't know the name, but there's a woman that plays Chitra's grandmother that was absolutely hilarious in every scene that she was in as well. I read an interview that Vijay Deverakonda said he was attracted to doing this part because the character is just inherently lazy. That he just had an affinity. And just his laid-back vibe in this film just seems to just fit perfectly with him as an actor. The whole script is extremely natural feeling. The way they fall in love is very organic. It doesn't feel melodramatic. It just all feels very natural. The dialogues feel natural. The music is something really special. The soundtrack was absolutely amazing. It's by Vivek Sagar, and just all the songs, there's no big dance numbers or anything, but just everything fits the tone of the movie and added to the specialness of the feeling of the film. I was interested to read that the director was inspired by two Hollywood movies. Chef by Jon Favreau, which actually has since been remade with Saif Ali Khan, also called Chef, which I haven't seen yet, and also the film Knocked Up by Judd Apatow, which of course starred Katherine Heigl and Seth Rogen. So at first I was like, what? How does it? But it has some of the same emotional beats. Obviously Vijay does not get Ritu's character pregnant, but in the same way, Seth Rogen's character was kind of stuck because they had had a one-night stand and then they were stuck together, and he was just kind of a loser hanging out with his friends who wanted to make himself better to live up to Katherine Heigl, who was extremely smart and competent. it has some of the same emotional beats in this movie, in that Vijay's character, he doesn't really care about disappointing his father, but he wants to be a better man for Chitra, for Ritu's character. When he lets her down and she's disappointed in him, that's what really drives him to make changes in his life. I won't tell you about the twist at the interval, but I found it absolutely delightful. Ultimately, these two characters, because of her business savvy and his cooking skills, have a food truck together, and I loved that whole plot device. And it's called Spitfire Barbecue, and if you know, I love any female character that is a Spitfire, and so I thought that was a very appropriate name for their cooking truck, their food truck. And it was funny, at the end of the film, there's a picture. It was based on evidently two real people, and so there was a picture, and there the name of their truck was also Spitfire. There's a couple of key monologues that Vijay has. Both how they were written and the way that he delivered them were absolutely amazing. And it also reminded me of a scene where Seth Rogen's character stands up for Katherine Heigl. Similarly, Vijay stands up to Chitra's father. He doesn't even know she's hearing him say this. But he says to the father, "Why are you sad that you didn't have a son? Why can't you appreciate the daughter that you have? She's amazing. I've never met anyone like her. And if you had a son, he'd probably be, a lazy guy like me." It's not exactly the way he said it, but just the way he delivered it and the way that scene was written was so well done. I loved how this film, it had a message of feminism and what Vijay is saying about why can't you value your daughters. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to find that in this film, and that was delightful to have that message. But also about parents letting their children find their way, find their path, and not trying to just, Vijay's character has an engineering degree and he can't pass whatever that final examination is or whatever. So he just trying to put a square peg in a round hole, essentially. It's like the parents are trying to make him something that he's not. And to value your daughters, their education is not just to increase their value on the marriage mart, but they're talented and smart and have their own ideas about their career aside from just being on the marriage mart. So I loved all of the messages that were in this film, but it wasn't preachy in any way. I don't mean to say it was preachy. Of course, these two lovebirds get together in the end, and the ending and the epilogue where there's a little scene over the end credits were just absolutely wonderful. I just loved how everything got tied together. The film is only a little over 2 hours long, and it's a really sweet gem of a film. I'm so glad that I finally got to see it. And this director, wow. So that was in 2016 that he came out with this film. And then in 2018, he had another film, which I have not seen, that was a buddy comedy, which evidently had above average reviews. So we got over that sophomore slump thing of how do you live up to having a national award for your very first film. But I'll be very interested to see what Tharun Bhascker does next with his career, because he's so talented. I do want to check out his second film if I can find it. Vijay, I just love him as an actor. Everyone was right. This is the perfect part for him. I know I've seen Ritu Varma in some other films, but I can't quite put my finger on what it was. Maybe in another industry, maybe in a Tamil film. She was quite good in this film as well. Basically, everybody was good, but the writing and the script were exceptional. So let me know what you thought about this film. Is this one of your favorites as well? And does anyone know what Vijay Deverakonda has coming up for 2019? Has anything been released in the Telugu press? Because he had an amazing 2018. After the follow-up of Arjun Reddy, he had Taxiwala and None of the Above and Gita Govindam. So he had 3 films, not all equally successful, but he just seems to be gaining a stronger and stronger fandom, which I'm a big fan of his too. So anxious to hear what is next in the line for him. Please do follow me on Twitter at PardesiYT. Subscribe here to Pardesi Reviews. And if you click the bell, then you'll get a notification whenever I have a new trailer reaction or film review.